Today we're taking a look at one of AVI-8's latest releases. Well, actually, as of today, as of the time I'm recording this, I'm not exactly sure if it's been released yet, but I do think they're shooting to release this in late January, early February. So we're going to be taking a look at the new AVI-8 Spitfire Smith. This is one of their, of course, their latest releases. And their boxing, the packaging is actually pretty normal compared to the regular stuff, but this watch really is special for a couple of reasons that we'll get into. Here we go. Here it is. Let's take this off. So packaging wise, you get the usual, your booklets, your box, your inner box, outer box. Kind of a manual showing you how to wind, how to set the date. But let's take a look at this watch. I've spoken about this before in the past, but I'm a big fan of AVI-8. But my only criticism towards them really is the fact that they release so many watches that at times it is easy for the pieces to kind of get lost just because they release so many of them. And I think this is a good example. There's a lot to like about this watch. I think it could compete with just about any other brand in this price range. So right away, we have a 42mm case. You have multi-layered dial. I'm not sure if you can see it here, but there's a whole bunch of depth there. You have applied indices with some pretty good lume, as we'll see in a bit. You have a sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating on it. To me, this isn't in the specifications, but to me this is something noteworthy. You have a unique handset here. That's something unique because you see a lot of these Seikos, these Citizen watches that are kind of all similar hands used. So I like that minute hand right here. But there's something also to note. This watch could be hand wound and it's automatic. It uses an NH35 modified movement. I'm not exactly sure what the modification is, but if I had to guess, I would think it's this right here. Take this off. It does have a kind of special rotor here, so when you wind it, the airplane kind of spins. That's really nice. You're looking at 13mm thickness. Big fan of this kind of crown too, this bulbous crown. And you have 22mm lugs. So again, even just on paper, a watch with this kind of specifications, with a unique rotor, with good lume like this, with applied indices, with the water, this does have a water resistance of 5 ATM. It's not the best, but I don't think you'll really need more than that unless you go diving, which I don't see why you would go diving with this. But again, yeah, look at this case. It really is. That's awesome. A watch with this kind of specification, and honestly, I do think it's a very good looking watch. Just plain and simple, it's a very attractive watch. I do think you'll struggle to find something like this in the 500 and down price range. Again, with the sapphire AR coated, a customized rotor, a workhorse movement, nice indices, applied indices like this. Yet this one, I do believe it's being released at $350, but with all of their discount codes, you can probably find this for around a little under $300. To me, that's a great value. It's a very nice looking watch, and again, they just don't seem to get a lot of attention. In my opinion, it's just because so many of them are released. So I've got this one to really try to highlight it, and just a color coordination on the dial. It's a nice touch. So I brought out some other watches to kind of compare the sizes to show how the 42 millimeters, well, it does sound a little bit big. It really isn't. There's a Seiko Turtle. I know the Turtle is on paper and, well, actually on the wrist too, bigger in just about every sense. But this is such a mainstream watch that I figured a lot of you all might own it, so it might be a good point of comparison. Yeah, so the Seiko is obviously quite a bit bigger. You can see even the lugs on the Turtle are shorter, but the watch itself is just very, very big. I also brought out this Nighthawk because it's a similar flight themed watch. I believe the Nighthawk is 42 millimeters. Also have 20 millimeter lugs. It's a very similar specification wise. This is obviously solar powered and Citizen made, but you can see how they are kind of similar. I do think the Citizen is going to come in quite a bit thinner just because it has a solar powered quartz movement in it. Let's take a look at, yeah, it is thinner. But I would think it wears pretty similar to the AVI-8, and we'll throw it on the wrist right now. But a lot of AVI-8's pieces, at least the older ones, used to be, in my opinion, too big. But I'm glad they're moving down towards the 40 to 42 millimeter size range. And I also do appreciate the automatic movement. A lot of the pieces are quartz, so it's a nice touch. Let's go ahead and dim the lights and see how the lume looks here. Here we go, let's check this one out. See, even here you can already see a little bit. I haven't done anything to it, but I suspect this will be one that gets pretty bright. Here it is. So right off the bat, I do like the strength of it is obviously great. I do like that every single indice is loomed, not just the 0, 3, 6, and 9. Let's try it again. Yeah, that's some pretty strong lume. Let's compare it here to the Citizen. I love that Citizen, the blue lume. But as you can see, they're pretty similar in terms of every indice being applied. And of course the Turtle. I think the Turtle, Seiko, is just about the king of lume. And really my point that I was trying to make earlier is this Turtle goes for around, I believe, $450. So almost 30% more than the AVI-8, yet specification wise they're pretty similar. Both sapphire crystals, both lower end Seiko movements, similar lume, similar complication. Obviously this has a day. Yet for this one, that if you're careful about it, you can get this for under $300. It's just crazy to me that these aren't more popular, especially in a time where a lot of people prioritize specifications like this. So let's go ahead and throw this on the wrist and see how that wears. On the wrist, this actually is very, very legible. Just moving it around here, the numbers really do pop out, and I think it has a lot to do with the applied indices being so tall. It wears, the watch itself, the case wears a little bit tall. I do think that might be because of the strap, but the size is actually quite nice. Keep in mind I do have a very small wrist of around 6.5 or 6.75 inch wrist, so my wrist is actually on the small side, but even then I do think I can pull this off quite nicely. Again, I think this is a great watch that I don't understand why it doesn't have more attention. So I do hope more people start looking at these because these are really good values and it's tough to beat.